Implementing the new European Pressure Equipment Directive, PED, has made it necessary to alter the design of certain gas spring models. In order to minimize the risk of mixing old and new components, the new piston rod, guide, and tube have been given a groove in the top of each respective part. The letters PED are also included in the attached label, and the individual repair kit number can now be found stamped on the side of the tube. More information can be found in our service instructions contained in the repair kit. We shall now renovate the PED version of the TU gas spring. These instructions also apply for the TB, SL, LCF, and certain HT gas spring models. Please note, use only original KALLER repair kits when servicing and maintaining the gas spring. We'll also be using original KALLER toolkits containing all specialized tools needed to service and maintain the gas spring. You'll also need standard workshop tools that are not included in the toolkit. More information on the tools required can be found in our service instructions booklet. To avoid damage to the gas spring, soft jaws should always be used when fixing the gas spring in the vise. Check the gas spring model against the repair kit number to ensure the correct repair kit is used. PED gas springs are permanently marked with the repair kit number on the side of the tube. Begin by discharging the nitrogen gas pressure. Use an Allen key to remove the protective plug. The special valve tool has two functions. One is to open and discharge the gas pressure. The other to remove or install the valve itself. Carefully open the gas valve with the valve tool and relieve the gas pressure. For safety reasons, never attempt to remove the valve completely until the gas pressure has fully discharged. With the valve tool still in place to keep the valve open, tap in the end of the piston rod to ensure all gas pressure has been discharged. Now, use the opposite end of the valve tool to unscrew the valve. Remove the valve using the needle nose pliers from the toolkit. Stand the gas spring upright and knock the guide down into the tube using the appropriate mounting sleeve, thus exposing the lock ring. Please note, for the PED version of the new TU 3000 gas spring, it's important to remove the dirt cover before knocking down the guide. Remove the dirt cover. Use the universal lock ring tool with special yoke to remove the lock ring. Adjust the lock ring tool so that the lock ring will be lifted inwards towards the piston rod. Support the tool towards the middle of the piston. Grip close to the lock ring's opening and lift out. Discard the used protective plug, dirt cover, valve, and lock ring. New ones are provided in the repair kit. To remove the piston rod assembly from the tube, first thread the T-handle into the top of the piston rod. The piston rod may now be removed by pulling the assembly straight up. Remove the guide from the piston rod. Remove and discard the piston ring, and remove the piston halves. Discard the guide. A replacement is included in the repair kit. Allow the oil to drain from the tube. The tube, piston rod, and piston halves are to be reused and must be cleaned thoroughly. Clean the components carefully using a degreasing liquid. Dry using compressed air. Examine the components for scratches or damage that can lead to gas leakage. Pay particular attention to the piston rod and surfaces inside the upper portion of the tube. Open the repair kit and check the contents against the list contained in the service instructions. At this stage, it's important to check to see if the gas spring you're servicing is marked with circular grooves on the guide, piston rod, and tube. It's very important no attempt be made to assemble a gas spring using a combination of marked and unmarked components. In addition, check to see that the piston rod is the same length as the tube when placed inside the tube. If the top of the piston rod is not flush with the end of the tube, do not proceed with the assembly. If all is well, proceed with the assembly by first mounting the piston rod halves to the piston rod. Mount the piston ring. Make sure to lubricate all seals contained in the guide. Fit the guide to the piston rod, making sure the piston rod scraper faces upwards. If unsure, check the service instructions before fitting the guide. If the guide you're fitting has the following design, then make sure the external O-ring seal sits in the upper part of the O-ring groove. Lubricate the upper inner end of the tube. Fill the gas spring with the correct amount of oil as indicated in the service instructions. Place the piston rod assembly in the tube and push the guide down. Tap the guide into the tube using the appropriate mounting sleeve to expose the lock ring groove. Position one of the open ends of the lock ring in the groove and press the lock ring in by hand or with the help of a plastic mallet. Compared with earlier TU gas springs, the PED version now uses a smaller wire diameter for the lock ring. Another reason to make sure the correct components are used. Fix the gas spring horizontally in the vise. Screw in the T-handle and pull out the piston rod assembly so that the guide sits flush with the tube's upper surface. If the guide does not sit flush with the tube's upper surface, it has been assembled upside down. Mount the new valve and use the valve tool to screw in finger tight. Before charging the gas spring, make sure you have the correct gas. Use only nitrogen, N2 gas. Use of other gas can be dangerous. Always use a pressure regulator connected to the nitrogen gas bottle. Make sure the shutoff valve is closed. Ensure the sealing washer is in place and undamaged. Choose the appropriate adapter. Affix and tighten. Open the gas bottle valve and check the pressure gauge on the left to ensure the bottle has enough pressure. Adjust the pressure regulator to the correct level for the gas spring. Make sure the gas spring's max pressure is not exceeded. Max pressure is always stamped on the side of the tube. Mount the charging armature to the gas spring. Check that the evacuation valve is closed. Slowly open the shutoff valve and wait until the pressure gauge needle stops rising. This is the preset charging pressure. Close the shutoff valve. Open the evacuation valve to dissipate pressure in the armature. The charging armature can now be safely disassembled. Fit the protective plug and tighten. This is important, as the plug has a sealing function. Finally, mount the dirt cover. The gas spring is now ready for use.